Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kathy. So here's some rough advice for the real world. And it might not be that rough, it might just be blunt or not sugar-coated. And this is mostly just my experience, things I have gone through, things I have learned. I'm in my early 50s now, and I do have to say I have a bit of life experience that I can draw from. And some of it was not fun going through it. But yeah, we all go through things that we learn from, that make us better, that put us maybe on the path where we need to be going. You know, God knows what's best for us. You know, our plans might lead us over here, but it might go directly off a cliff. And so God will steer us to where we need to be and what is better for us, and maybe even to remove things out of our lives that aren't good for us, aren't leading us in the right direction. That could be people, jobs, maybe the location you live in. It could be all different things. So just a few things that come to mind for me is, you know, you might not end up living where you thought. So like I grew up in Oregon, graduated high school, moved to California, and lived there for over 20 years. And I thought I had a house there and thought, okay, this is where I'm going to be. You know, I loved where I lived. I have tons of friends there. And I just thought, yeah, this is it, you know, and could retire there. I'd have my place and everything. And God had different plans in store. So, yeah, I ended up losing the house when everything crashed in approximately 2007, 2008. I mean, I kept it for about 7 or 8 years after that, but it just got to where, yeah, I had to let it go. And that was, you know, really heartbreaking and sad. And at that time is when I lived in Australia with my husband, and I've done a video on meeting him. He's Australian. So living over there and all of that, the Sacramento place not working out, that was a big eye-opener. Like, oh my gosh, I was planning on, you know, having that place. And so, we didn't go back to Sacramento when we came back to America, and probably won't be living there at any time, just because, you know, California is really expensive and things like that. And so all of that changed. We're in a state where we never thought we would live. We lived in Oregon when we came back over from Australia for the last 7 years, and then we moved to a different state that I was never on my radar, but we found a place that we could afford, a great community, great living situation. So that was completely different than what I had planned and put all my blood, sweat, tears, money, time, effort, energy, everything into, was my place in Sacramento, California. But yeah, God has better things in store. And then another thing might be, actually, let me turn that light on. It didn't go on. So you might go through college and get a degree in whatever and have all these high hopes of, okay, I'm going to have this business, I'm going to work at this company, I'm going to do this and that in this field. And so just some advice that in the real world, I think the statistic, I looked it up for another video, and it's about 50% of people, whatever they got their degree in, don't work in that field. And I am one of them. I partially work in it, but not really. So, yeah, you'll have to check out those videos. I think one of them's titled was Education Pushed on You. So, I mean, I had a great time going through college and doing this and that, and in Sacramento, then going to San Francisco, and yeah, doing all this stuff and all these classes and degrees and certificates and whatever. But yeah, God had other plans for that too. So yeah, you have to be flexible. You have to have an open mind and just remember he knows what's best. I mean, I did have a great time, met really good lifelong friends going through those experiences. But yeah, it doesn't always work out exactly what you're planning. So on another category would be maybe you're with a person, a boyfriend, girlfriend, from my high school days. I thought I was going to be with that guy forever. And yeah, that didn't last, that maybe 2 years. Can't remember. 1 year, between 1 and 2 years. And then that fell apart, which, yeah, looking back, it's like, oh my gosh, thank you, Lord, for not, for opening not really opening my eyes, but getting me out of this situation. Now, years later, decades later, my eyes are opened. But at the time, I was completely devastated and heartbroken. And, that's the only person I wanted to be with and thought we were going to be together forever. And yeah, that didn't happen. And then a couple other boyfriends along the way, like college days and all that in my 20s and 30s. And my gosh, so those didn't work out either. And some were really long relationships, and yeah, but God took them out of the way to bring me to where I am today with my husband. Like I mentioned, there's a video, I think it's titled God helped me, or no, I gave up and then God brought me my husband. So you'll have to check out that video, because I was at the end of everything, just like, nope, I'm done with dating men, everything. And then things happened that just blew my mind. And so yeah, so those three categories. You might be in a job that you absolutely love, you're doing really well, and maybe you got a promotion, maybe you're about to get a promotion, or whatever it is. Maybe you've been there for a long time, or maybe the future looks great, but then all of a sudden something happens and you're no longer there, or you get demoted, or they get rid of your position and say, oh, you have to take this lower position if you want to stay here. We're doing restructuring. We are doing layoffs. There can be so many scenarios. So, and here you thought, yeah, I'm going to be with them for the next 20 years, retire with them. Everything will be great. And then that falls apart. But just remember, God's in control. There's something better. And he can see the end and how to get you there. So, yeah, those are probably the big categories. Yeah, that I can think of, and things that have affected me and I've been through. There could be like a death in the family, the death of a close loved one, and that can, throw you into a tailspin, change everything. And that's pretty much why we moved from Australia to Oregon after my mom passed, to move in with my stepdad and help him out. And that was never, in the cards, on the cards. And so, things happen, things change. but then we, you know, had to be in that situation for us to end up in where we're at now. And so many things that, yeah, you just don't, you think you have it all mapped out. And like the saying goes, we make plans and God laughs because we think, you know, oh, I'm going to do A, B, and C and end up here and everything will be perfect. And God's like, no, actually, you're going to do H, J, M, and then end up over at Y. And but it'll be even better. You'll go through some bumps and some valleys and some hard times, but you know, the peaks and the end result will be much better than you even could have imagined or tried to do on your own. So that's some, could be rough advice for the real world. I mean, we are in April 2025. So there's high schoolers are getting ready to graduate. They have maybe a month and a half left of school. And then they get flung out into the real world. And yeah, I mean, there's so much I know now compared to when I was 18 and heading out. And I probably wouldn't have listened to anyone if they would have told me things. I was pretty hard-headed and just determined to do what I wanted to do. But yeah, if you know anyone who might want to hear this or is going through a rough time or things are happening or have happened, please share this with them. Leave me a comment down below if you've been through something or all of the ones that I mentioned, all of the categories that can be life-changing. Yeah, let me know if you need prayer for anything. Leave that down below too. I would love to pray for you. I know my viewers, they are prayers also. And yeah, thank you for coming by. Welcome to all my new subs, and I will see everyone in the next video. All right, God bless.